From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Live from the CBS studios in San Francisco, I'm Brian Hackett.
And I'm Andrea Nakano. We start in Stockton, where a community is mourning after a deadly shooting at a children's birthday party. Police say the suspected shooter is still on the loose.
4 people were killed. 11 others were hurt in last night's shooting. It happened at a banquet hall. Police say most of the victims that were killed were children, the youngest being 8 years old. Stockton's mayor denounced the shooting on social media, calling it a, quote, pure act of terrorism. Brad Hamilton is live in Stockton tonight with the latest developments. Brad?
Yeah, Brian, the sheriff's office wouldn't go that far, wouldn't go as far as the mayor, but they did call this a targeted attack. They don't have any suspects just yet. No one has been arrested, but this community is grieving tonight. We saw a vigil earlier today as people remember the lives of 4 people, including 3 children that were attending a birthday party when this happened. On Lucille Avenue in Stockton, Saturday night, a rented banquet hall was filled with families celebrating a child's birthday. But just after 6 o'clock, that celebration turned into chaos.
Last night, about 5:30, we heard gunshots, probably about 20 or 30, rapid fire.
Brent Terrell lives just down the street from where investigators say the shooting happened. He says the gunfire was so fast, no one had a chance to make sense of it.
Moms, parents, relatives, everybody was kind of running around frantically trying to find their family members, and then they started pulling out people, and there was a lot of CPR going on and a lot of ambulances coming and going.
The San Joaquin Sheriff's Office confirmed the ages of the 4 victims killed: 3 children, ages 8, 9, and 14, and a young adult, 21 years old. There are 11 other victims still in the hospital, but their conditions are unknown at this time. As for the suspect or suspects, none have been arrested so far. Earlier this afternoon, the mayor of Stockton released a statement on Facebook saying, quote, gang violence exists in cities across the country, but this act was a pure act of terrorism, a complete, cowardly terrorist act. Public Information Officer Heather Brent says they're being deliberate about what they release, not wanting to jeopardize their work identifying who opened fire.
We do not want our community to think that they are at danger. We do not believe that they are. We believe that this is a targeted incident.
But for neighbors, what they saw was terrifying regardless of motive. A second witness, who asked to remain anonymous, arrived as families were running towards the building, trying to find their kids.
When I was passing, there was like family members getting to the scene, asking, where are my kids? Like, kids just started running out. We're missing them. Where are they? Do you guys know anything?
He told us, whatever the dispute may have been, children should never be caught in the middle.
I don't know, even if it's between neighborhoods, you don't come to a kid's party do this, you know? They got their way of settling stuff, but not a kid's party.
And for Terrell, a lifelong resident, what he saw last night has him rethinking everything.
I lived here my whole life. It makes you second guess where you're at, makes you kind of wonder where you're going and what the future is going to bring. Scary.
Tonight, detectives remain at what they call a massive and complex crime scene, methodically working to collect every piece of evidence to get answers for so many that are devastated by this tragedy.
We do not have a time frame, and time is not of our concern right now. Our number one priority is ensuring that we locate all evidence, that we do not leave one stone unturned.
So right behind us was the crime scene, and now everything is opened back up. So investigators, as far as a crime scene and really being on scene here, they have kind of ended that portion of it, but they are still asking anyone out there with information to give it to them, especially surveillance video. They said that that could be key. Again, no one's been arrested just yet, but it appears the sheriff's office is very confident that they're going to get that resolved soon.
Brad, I am curious. It's been more than 24 hours now since the shooting. I know law enforcement, I guess around 4 o'clock this afternoon there, had a press conference, but I am a little perplexed by the fact that now going on a day, they haven't even released a description of a suspect.
Brian, I was kind of taken aback by the same thing. I mean, we spoke with them multiple times today. It was the same update. From what I could tell, everything is just basically being close to the vest, which makes you either think that they're a long ways from figuring this out or they have people in mind. But I did notice tonight the sheriff talked about multiple people. We hadn't heard that before. It sounded like one suspect before, but now it appears multiple people are possible interests to the sheriff's department. So hopefully that gets figured out sooner rather than later. I know this community would like that very much so.
Yeah, I would think if the community had a description of the suspects, that would help them, help law enforcement track these guys down. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. In Stockton, that's Brad Hamilton. Brad, thanks very much. Andrea?
Well, we are also continuing to follow Friday's shooting at Valley Fair Mall in San Jose. 2 adults and a 16-year-old girl were injured. San Jose police say they expect to release more information on the suspect tomorrow. The cell phone video shows the chaos inside the mall during Black Friday. The shooting happened in front of the clothing store Fresh Society near Macy's. Police say it was gang motivated and the gunman argued with the male victim before opening fire. Stray bullets hit a woman and a teenager. One shopper says she pleaded for help as shots rang out.
I said, "Excuse me, somebody please help me, I'm blind, please guide me out." People ignored me, and then I said it a second time, and then there was this man who said, "Take my hand." And we briefly walked out. We didn't run. He was actually pretty calm.
The 3 victims are all expected to survive. Valley Fair is back open for shoppers. No arrests have been made in that case. And stay with KPIX for continuing coverage on the Stockton deadly shooting and Valley Fair Mall shooting on air, online, and streaming on the free CBS News app. Time now for a preview of the forecast, and here's Zoe Mintz.
Well, it's another foggy night out there all across the Bay Area, at least those inland communities. If you've been dealing it for the past several days, you're going to be dealing with it once again tonight and waking up early tomorrow morning. Those temperatures are going to be chilly out there. You make sure to bundle up waking up early tomorrow morning. These are our lows. They're going to be in the upper 30s across our inland communities, mid to lower 40s closer to the coast. So yeah, it's going to be chilly out there. I want to make sure everybody is aware of that. You are dressed accordingly. But what you're also aware of probably is the bad air quality that's been in place all across the Bay Area. There's been moderate air quality. This is current air quality, definitely worse across our South Bay communities. But you'll notice by the time that we step out over the next 24 to 48 hours, things are going to be changing. We'll be noticing again through Tuesday. Likely going to be seeing that moderate air quality sticking around again for our South Bay communities. North Bay looks to be clearing up as stronger winds are going to be developing. But by Tuesday afternoon and evening, look at that. Those colors that were once deeper and darker in yellow, that signifies the moderate air quality. It's going to be gone. We're going to be looking at much better air quality and much lower chances for fog waking up each morning through the midweek. I'll break down the details on exactly when you can expect some sunshine coming up in my full forecast. Back to you.
Alrighty, thank you, Zoe. In other news tonight, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says that the suspect in the shooting of 2 National Guard members was, quote, radicalized after arriving in the U.S. This after the Trump administration announced pausing all asylum decisions in the wake of those shootings. The suspect is accused of shooting 2 National Guard members near the White House on Wednesday. U.S. Army Specialist Sarah Beckstrom was killed. U.S. Air Force Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf is in critical condition. The suspect is charged with first-degree murder. And as for a motive,
we believe he was radicalized since he's been here in this country. We do believe it was through connections in his home community and state, and we're going to continue to talk to those who interacted with him. Anyone who has information on this needs to know that we will be coming after you, and we will bring you to justice.
Officials say the suspect entered the U.S. Back in 2021 under a relocation program launched by the Biden administration. This followed the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. He was granted asylum earlier this year, though, by the Trump administration.
Well, many people in the Bay Area's Afghan community say they disagree with the latest Trump policy to indefinitely pause immigration from Afghanistan. Dahlin has reaction from Afghan Americans in Fremont's Little Kabul.
The Fremont area is home to one of the largest Afghan American communities in the country. In fact, you'll find a lot of Afghan restaurants and markets in Little Kabul on Fremont Boulevard. Many Afghans tell me they're disappointed with the new Trump immigration policy. Many Afghan Americans stopped by the popular Maywan market on Sunday to buy the traditional Afghan bread called naan. While almost everyone offered to share their bread with me, very few wanted to speak on camera. Off camera, they told me they're upset about the indefinite pause on immigration from Afghanistan.
We feel really bad and disappointed about this.
Ahmad Tawhid Sotani was one of the few willing to speak his mind. Sotani moved to the Bay Area with his family about 5 years ago from Afghanistan. He says the shooting in Washington was the act of one person, not a reflection of the entire community.
Just because one Afghan did something bad doesn't mean all the Afghans should be punished because of that. Just because one Afghan is bad doesn't mean all of the Afghans are bad. There's other people that are good. What that guy did was wrong, but that doesn't mean we should be punished for it because we didn't do anything.
But the U.S. has paused all asylum decisions and stopped issuing visas to people from Afghanistan. President Trump says his administration will also review the status of Afghan asylum seekers already in the U.S.
To send them back, to deport them, would be, a death sentence since they, supported our armed service members against the Taliban. And so there is a lot of fear in the community.
Harris Mojadidi, an Afghan community activist in the East Bay, says there's growing fear among Afghan Americans.
What the Afghan American community is experiencing is collective punishment, and it is discriminatory, it is xenophobic, racist.
Sotani says even though his brothers and relatives are still in Afghanistan, he doesn't dare to visit them or leave the country.
I don't feel comfortable right now given the policy because I might get stuck in there.
I did find one Afghan American who supports the immigration pause. He did not want to go on camera, saying he would lose a lot of friends. He tells me he came to this country as a refugee in 1981. He says he voted for Trump last year and supports the president's latest decision. He believes it will keep the country safer by keeping the asylum seekers out.
San Francisco Sunset District is getting a new supervisor. Mayor Daniel Lurie has picked Alan Wong to represent District 4. He's expected to be sworn in tomorrow. He's a Sunset District native. He graduated from Lincoln High School and was elected to San Francisco City College's Board of Trustees in 2020 and 2024. Wong worked as an aide to former District 4 Supervisor Gordon Marr. He also currently serves as a first lieutenant in the California National Guard. Mayor's been working to appoint a new Sunset District supervisor after the abrupt resignation of his first pick, Bea Alcaraz. The controversy over the 29-year-old's business practices as a former pet store owner led to her stepping down after just a week on the job, Andrea.
Well, still ahead here at 6, a bizarre way of dealing with a fruit fly infestation in Silicon Valley. Why scientists are dropping more flies to fight the problem.
And welcome back on this Sunday night. A 109 square mile section of Santa Clara County is under quarantine after the detection of 2 female Mediterranean fruit flies in San Jose. They can potentially threaten nearly $14 billion worth of California crops. In the past, they have threatened more than that. Political careers have been derailed by the medfly. You'll remember that if you've got a deep history of the Bay Area. So why did experts decide to dump tens of thousands of medflies weekly onto Santa Clara County?
While the Bay Area sleeps, a gentle rain falls. A rain of 10 million sterile medflies falling from the sky onto Silicon Valley. And local biologists are buzzed about it. Biologist Coy Wynn has kept an eye on the medfly since it reappeared in Santa Clara County.
We're trying to disrupt the life cycle of medflies currently in the area.
And it's not easy to spot.
This is Mediterranean fruit fly. For size of scale, it's incredibly tiny. We're talking like even less than the size of a penny.
But it is easy to trap.
It's just basically attracts a smell or flavor for medflies.
So when a few of them were found over the summer, it was a reminder of the bad old days of the Mediterranean fruit fly.
All-out assault on the invasive pest.
Crews spraying malathion are moving from house to house, but the medfly is also on the move.
In the early 80s, the state responded to a medfly invasion by spraying the pesticide malathion onto crops, trees, and people.
Many have been scared by scientists who say malathion causes cancer.
We feel like we are just trapped here and we're going to be sprayed. We're going to be living in the sea of malathion.
I could have a 2-pound baby instead of a nice, healthy 7-pound baby.
This was during Jerry Brown's first incarnation as governor, when he drove a Plymouth Satellite, dated Linda Ronstadt, and was foiled by the fly.
Do you have any fresh fruit or vegetables there?
People can't take fruit out of the quarantine area. It's a threat to agriculture, it's a threat to other states, and it must be stopped.
The man has just bungled this thing from the very beginning all the way through.
The state eventually claimed victory. Jerry Brown did not.
I don't know, if I were Jerry Brown, I would take 4 years off.
The Democrat actually lost to a Republican in California in 1982.
And now the return of the medfly.
Since then, the medfly has been spotted in California in at least 41 of the last 44 years.
See if I can get a closer up for you.
Including this summer.
In response, they're no longer spraying, they are dropping 60 million medflies a week onto the quarantine area, all of them sterile males, based on one vital fact.
The fact that for Mediterranean fruit flies, they only really mate once, and that we can take advantage of.
So a female mates with a sterile male and lays eggs that never hatch.
And then with continual applications, we're able to essentially eradicate it from the area.
And where exactly is the quarantine? That's where Carolyn comes in.
This is the quarantine area, and to find out if you're inside of it, you can go onto our website at sacagriculture.org, put in your address, and it will let you know if you're within the quarantine zone. On there, it'll give you instructions on what you can do with your homegrown fruit.
In the meantime, the quarantine will probably last through next summer, when the pests should be eradicated without even hurting a fly.
Amazing. They do those flights every night, weather permitting. Officials say it is impossible to pinpoint exactly where the medflies are coming from, but almost certainly they're coming from overseas. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Zoe Mintz.
Well, I can tell you they'll definitely have no issues tonight when it comes to dropping them, unless the issue might be fog. If it's fog that they can't deal with, then you might have to steal one more night with foggy conditions. But you hear that? Only one more night. Yes, we are going to be seeing a lot less fog as we step out mid this week, as a little bit of a storm system will be moving overhead, not bringing us any sort of rain, though, just dispersing the clouds, because they've been sitting overhead basically all day long. This is our view from on top of Mount Diablo, overlooking our inland East Bay community. Again, it's foggy out there, but the sunset was gorgeous above the fog if you were lucky enough to see it out there. That sunset is going to be more visible for basically everybody in the Bay Area over the next several days, as again, the Thule fog that we've been seeing all day, every day for the past week or so across the Central Valley of California. It kind of looks like somebody has spilled some white paint in the Central Valley of California. It is not going to last much longer than, I would say, Tuesday and into Wednesday. So yes, we still have another night to get through. And if you have any early morning plans tomorrow, give yourself some extra time and make sure to bundle up, because early tomorrow morning, it's going to be a chilly one. By tomorrow afternoon, though, once the fog clears, I would say after about 8, 9 a.m., yeah, you heard me right. You'll be seeing some sunshine this afternoon. But until then, you'll definitely notice some decreased visibility across our North Bay and inland East Bay. If you've been dealing with some thick fog over the past several mornings, it's going to be another foggy start to your day. But look at that the afternoon, especially our North Bay communities. You'll be seeing more sunshine. Inland East Bay, there might still be a little bit of some stubborn fog sticking around. But either way, those high temperatures, especially across those North Bay communities, are going to be much warmer. And the areas in blue, those are the places that are going to still be seeing the fog tomorrow afternoon, mainly across our inland East Bay and Central Valley community. So if you want to enjoy some warmer weather, head down to Monterey, Salinas. You're going to be in the mid to upper 60s. Closer to our coast and our North Bay, you'll still be in the mid to upper 50s, but it is going to be a degree or two warmer than yesterday, and that warming trend is only going to persist through the middle parts of the upcoming week. These are our highs on Tuesday. Look at that. the fog goes away inland and you'll finally be seeing more comfortable temperatures. Tuesday afternoon, your highs are going to be sitting in the mid-60s across those inland communities all the way to the coast and down in places like Monterey, Salinas, Santa Cruz. So everybody is going to be getting in on the mid-60s by the upcoming middle parts of the week. Again, it's not going to stick around forever, so let's enjoy it while we can. And if you're planning on heading to the beach, just be aware of the areas in blue, basically all across the coast. You are going to be seeing some beach hazards, anywhere from 10 to 14-foot waves, along with sneaker waves higher than normal rip currents. And it's going to be interesting because we're likely going to be seeing anywhere from 10 to 20-minute period lulls. So basically what that means is there's going to be about a 10 to 20-minute period in between those highest waves. So high waves will come, there will be a break, and then more high waves come. So yes, you'll be seeing some quiet periods, but don't expect it to stay quiet forever. Something that I just want to keep your eyes on. Yes, we'll be seeing much quieter conditions stepping out mid this week. And the reason is because our winds are going to be picking up. That will allow for more sunshine. So Monday and into Tuesday, yeah, there's still going to be a little fog to start off our day. But Tuesday and into Wednesday, those breezes will be picking up offshore, coming in from our North Bay communities, upwards of 40 miles an hour. All things we'll keep a close eye on mid this week. Offshore winds, slightly warmer, slightly sunnier. You'll be seeing those mid-60s returning. Not sticking around forever, though. And those closer to our coastal communities, you're going to be slightly warmer than the mid-50s over the next couple of days. So if you actually want to enjoy some warmer weather, the coast is the place for you. Inland areas, you still got a couple more days of fog to contend with.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Welcome back. A U.S. delegation led by Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with Ukrainian negotiators in Florida to try to hammer out a deal that will bring Russia's war with Ukraine to an end.
And this comes as another delegation prepares to travel to Russia tomorrow for more talks. CBS News' Torian Small in Washington with details.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with Ukrainian negotiators in Florida on Sunday in a push for peace aimed at ending the war sparked by Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
We want to see the end of the killing and the death and the suffering, and I'm sure the Ukrainian side, I know they do as well, they want peace. But it's also about securing an end to the war that leaves Ukraine sovereign and independent.
Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, President Trump's son-in-law, also represented the U.S. during Sunday's talks. They're expected to travel to Moscow on Monday.
Also, over the weekend, President Trump escalated threats of military force against Venezuela, declaring on social media that the airspace above and surrounding Venezuela should be considered closed.
While the U.S. can't unilaterally close another country's airspace, the Federal Aviation Administration has been warning airlines for weeks to avoid the area due to increased military activity. When faced the nation, lawmakers from both parties expressed concern over possible U.S. military intervention in Venezuela, as well as U.S. strikes on vessels that officials accuse of smuggling drugs, often without evidence, killing dozens of people.
I will move with colleagues, Senator Schumer, Senator Paul, Senator Schiff, immediately should there be military action.
There is a buildup that the president has not explained in a way that relates solely to the actions that are currently going down in the Caribbean. It is certainly a significant concern in Congress.
The president has said future attacks on Venezuela would not be limited to boats.
And it's been a hectic day for millions of Americans heading home this Thanksgiving weekend. A big snowstorm is having a major impact on people traveling by air and on the road. Dave Malkoff has the details.
More than a foot of snow came down over parts of the Midwest and Great Lakes regions over this wintry weekend, generating dangerous conditions for drivers and air travelers alike. Des Moines International Airport was shut down on Sunday after an airplane slid off the taxiway overnight. Yesterday was the snowiest November day on record in Chicago, more than 8 inches at O'Hare Airport. That's where we met Vanessa Robichaux and Ed Whitneighbor.
I've never seen this much snow because we're from Mississippi. So this is our first time seeing this much snow. So that was awesome, but I didn't realize it would cause so many delays.
They got to the airport at 3 a.m. for a 5 a.m. flight.
We were supposed to land at 9:30 this morning at home. So,
and it's
already
2 p.m. Central Time.
And the next flight they booked us on leaves at 9:45 tonight.
Yeah.
73 million drivers are expected on the roads over the week of Thanksgiving. Heavy snowfall led to this 45-car pileup near Terre Haute, Indiana on Saturday. And train travel was temporarily interrupted in the Northeast today when mechanical issues caused a passenger rail car to catch fire in Providence, Rhode Island. And weather isn't the only thing complicating the ride home. JetBlue had to cancel at least 70 of their flights because they are in the middle of updating the software on their A320 and A321 fleet.
And that's why everybody moves to California. Still ahead here at 6. Food is getting more expensive. How one bakery in Monterey County is rising to the occasion to help those who can't afford it.
And Bay Area leaders are looking to Texas for ways to get people off the streets permanently. We'll be right back.
And we are right in the middle of our annual Food for Bay Area Families initiative. That's when KPIX partners with local food banks to make sure they've got the resources they need to feed people.
In Monterey County, a bakery is stepping up to help their local food bank in a big way. Our Veronica Macias spoke to the owner of the shop in Pacific Grove.
If it's Saturday morning, this is where to find Paul Wainscoat at Pavel's Bakery in Pacific Grove. There's a line out the door, and after years in business, they're now only open 1 day a week.
It can get really busy, especially around holidays.
Prices for ingredients have gone up, so he's raised some things by $1. Yet for people who are stretching every dollar they have, there's the free ciabatta.
What we're doing here, we just put it by the window. You don't have to show your identification or anything. If you need a loaf of bread, come by and take it. And it's catching on. I know a couple of bakeries are starting to do it as well, which is great.
His generosity also catching on with customers.
Really, the cost of this is labor, and my wife and I do all the labor.
One cinnamon roll, one bear claw.
And then we have customers that are giving us money to put towards it. So that goes to the food bank.
It's cash only here, no credit cards for the giant pastries. If you come up short, don't worry. His policy is to pay the next time around. Some who don't make it back, remaining honest, even mailing in checks.
I'm proud. I appreciate the flexibility and the kindness and the understanding that this place does implement.
Most of all, it's providing support for those who were furloughed and lost SNAP benefits.
What's really sad is that we've accepted that people can live without a home, but they can't live without food. So we still have that power.
That power, he says, like his bread, will expand the more people decide to do something and help.
Paul has been baking bread since the age of 8, and he and his wife are approaching retirement. They are now hoping to start a program for kids to learn how to make bread at the food bank.
And we invite you to join us in helping your community. Scan the QR code on your screen to find out how you can donate or volunteer at our local food banks. You could also head to kpix.com/give.
And be sure to join us for a holiday special airing Christmas night at 7 o'clock. You can see the inspiring stories behind the effort to feed families across the Bay Area. We'll also show you the impact your donation has to keep food on the table for our neighbors.
And still ahead here tonight, Bay Area leaders looking to Texas for ways to get people off our streets permanently.
And it's going to be another foggy night across most of Central California. However, there is a change in our weather pattern with a lot more sunshine in store. I'll break down the details coming up. Happy Sunday. It's back to reality tomorrow for most of everyone, but it's going to be another foggy start to our day. As you can tell, the Central Valley of California was socked in by that Thule fog, and that fog is going to continue into our overnight hours and waking up early tomorrow morning. North Bay, Inland, East Bay, the places that have been dealing with it, you're going to be seeing it once again. It's going to be a cold start to our day, though, so I want to make sure everybody bundles up and is prepared for the upper 30s across our inland communities, mid to lower 40s around the bay and closer to the coast. Either way, it's going to be a chilly start to our morning, but dress in layers because by the afternoon, we actually are expecting a lot of the fog from early in the morning to dissipate. It's still going to be a foggy start to our day. Visibility is not going to be great across our North Bay Valley communities, Inland East Bay valleys, and maybe even down into the Santa Clara Valley. By the afternoon hours, though, it is not going to take very long for that fog to lift. By the early afternoon, in fact, our North Bay communities, places that have not seen sunshine in the past 24 to 48 hours, you are finally going to be seeing some sunny skies and temperatures a degree or two warmer tomorrow compared to what we felt today, especially across the North Bay and down into places like Monterey, Santa Cruz, Salinas, mid 60s. That's going to be probably the warmest part of the Bay Area, but farther north again, warmer than what we felt today. Those areas that you see in blue, farther inland, that is where the fog is likely going to be a bit more stubborn. It's going to be sticking around a little bit longer and keeping those temperatures a little bit cooler, sitting in the low 50s farther inland. But by Tuesday, look at those temperatures that are in blue on Monday. They're going to be warming up. You'll notice them in yellow and orange. Those signifies the 60s that are going to be returning by as soon as Tuesday, likely going to stick around through Wednesday. So from Monterey to Santa Cruz, all the way up to Livermore and our Inland East Bay communities, Napa, you'll all be sitting in the mid to lower 60s. Most likely going to be pretty warm. Concord, you have 59 right there, but I would not be surprised if you did reach that 60-degree mark. We're all going to be continuing to warm up through Wednesday, so enjoy the slightly warmer conditions and a little bit more sunshine. There is still going to be some hazards along the coast, so keep that in mind if you're planning on heading to the beach. There are beach hazards with 10 to 14-foot waves and likely going to be sneaker waves, higher than normal rip currents. This one is going to be an interesting system, though, because there's likely going to be lulls by about 10 to 20 minutes per wave. So about those 10 to 14-foot waves moving in, and there'll be a period about 10 to 20 minutes that you won't see all too much, and then more 10 to 14-foot waves moving in. So you might see a lull, but don't get too excited because more are likely going to be coming back. And again, we're going to continue to see overall quieter conditions through the midweek when it comes to our cloud coverage, but it's our winds that are going to be picking up. That's the reason that our clouds are going to be dispersing. So tomorrow morning, not all too much to talk about when it comes to winds. Those winds are going to be below 15 miles an hour through Tuesday. By overnight Tuesday and into Wednesday, though, that's when you'll be noticing those winds picking up, especially across our North Bay communities, 25 to 35, maybe even some 40-plus mile-an-hour wind gusts across the highest elevations of our North Bay. Those offshore winds, that is definitely going to decrease your cloud coverage, decrease your fog, and allow those winds and temperatures to pick up. Wednesday will definitely be the warmest day, gradually cooling down later this upcoming week, but overall, really not all too much to talk about when it comes to a big weather change on the way. There's just going to be less fog and less cloud coverage. There is the slight potential late next weekend and into next week for a more active weather pattern, but that's still too far away to know for certain. What we do know for certain is no chances for rain over at least the next 7 days. Over to you.
And coming up, could a tour of a tiny town in Texas hold the key to a major solution for homelessness here in the Bay Area? A South Bay leader thinks so. We'll tell you about it when we come back.
And remember, you can watch us anytime, anywhere on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. Catch all of our live newscasts plus news and weather updates throughout the day. You can find us on the free CBS News app or on Pluto TV.
Your community, your news, powered by KPIX. CBS News Bay Area. Watch anywhere, anytime. Stay informed and connected. Trusted local news when you want it. CBS News Bay Area. Watch free on any device.
There is hope for a new community in the South Bay following a unique strategy being used in Texas. Santa Clara County leaders went on a field trip to tour the tiny town in Texas, and now it could be a new chapter for people who used to live here.
For over a decade, Columbus Park in San Jose was taken over by a sprawling homeless encampment. It was home to hundreds of people who were kicked out earlier this year. Today, the park is getting ready for a major renovation. And as for the people who live there, Max Darrell reports Santa Clara County leaders are considering a brand new community where they can forge a new future.
Aside from a few remaining traces of life,
this was probably an RV site.
Columbus Park in San Jose, the once bustling, enormous homeless encampment in Santa Clara County, is now quiet, which to Ray Solnick is admittedly kind of odd.
It's gone. It's just disappeared, which feels weird.
But necessary, he says, for a new reality to take shape. The homeless advocate and CEO of Seeds of Hope Silicon Valley thinks it was the right move for the city to dismantle the encampment and begin an aggressive push to get people into temporary housing.
I feel hopeful because this is a step in the right direction. It's not safe for people to be living out on the street.
He thinks the system in place right now has plenty to offer: interim housing, supportive services, shelters, case management, and more. But these are just steps and not big solutions.
Whether it's parks or street corners, we see people living, laying down on the street. It's got to come to an end. We can do better.
So from his standpoint, it is time to try an entirely new approach. And that is why he and a delegation of more than 60 leaders from communities throughout the Bay Area spent a week in Texas, touring two unique approaches towards permanently getting people off the streets that appear to be breaking barriers. One of them is called Community First.
It's unlike anything that we have today.
It's a 53-acre master-planned neighborhood in Austin, Texas, with permanent housing for people coming out of chronic homelessness. It's not designed to transition people back into society. It's designed to create a new community where people can find purpose. People can get jobs here, access services here, and build new lives here. More than 420 formerly homeless people now call this community home.
People of like-minded backgrounds who've been living out on the street can get to know each other, live together permanently, as opposed to through transitional housing or being moved around at different encampments.
Solnick is working to bring that model home. State Senator Dave Cortese was on the tour.
But we really don't have facilities like this in our area. Looking around, there's a lot to be inspired by here. There's a lot of good things going on.
He likes the idea of a centralized, community-driven approach. He left Texas feeling optimistic that the concept could work in the Bay Area.
We can do this from a cost standpoint, and we can do this in terms of the expertise that we have.
Good morning. And some living in and working with the Bay Area's homeless community share that optimism, like Charlie, once homeless herself, who now works on case management for unhoused clients.
If it's centralized, then people feel like they belong to a community and they can help each other out and they can celebrate their successes.
And that sense of belonging and purpose, says Francis Shenguya, is something that many people living on the streets are missing.
You have to have a raison d'etre, a reason to live.
This is my sleeping bag.
He became homeless in 2017.
I had a home. I was in corporate America working well. I have 4 children.
Over the course of 8 years, he's bounced around the Central Coast and the Bay Area.
Monterey, Salinas, Livermore, California, San Jose, East Palo Alto, Gilroy, and then Mountain View.
While there is more he'd need to learn about the Community First concept, he thinks it sounds promising.
Right now, I won't go to any shelter. And you look at it, I'm not the draggy type, but I won't go to the shelters because they don't treat you right.
Solnick says Seeds of Hope has looked at over 100 parcels of land in the greater Santa Clara County area.
And within that, we've identified about 10 that we believe are viable, whether it's taking into account NIMBY, people who don't want it in my backyard, homeless advocates who don't want to push homeless people out into the corner of the city and create a slum, and environmentalists.
Though there are more hoops to jump through, Solnick is feeling encouraged.
I feel inspired.
As for his why, his drive to make a difference,
I guess like I tell my kids, when we visit someplace, let's leave it in better condition than we found it. And that applies to life too.
A simple yet powerful purpose.
I read about the program in Texas, and they seem to have success with it. So, yeah, might translate here. We shall see. In the meantime, thank you for watching. 60 Minutes is next. We'll see you back here at 11.
Until then, the news always continues streaming on CBS News Bay Area. Good night.